Good afternoon, everyone. I always get asked this question, how do I make a cup of matcha? So let's go back to the basics. I'm going to make a matcha latte with you today using the traditional tools that are used in Japanese tea ceremony. So I have my lovely bowl here, a bamboo whisk, a tea sieve, and a scoop. So I will step you through how I make my matcha. Of course, I've got the matcha. I've got some premium matcha, which is delicious. Okay, so we're just popping this wooden tea sieve, which is very fine mesh, over the bowl. Now, the tea sieve plays a really important part. So to get that matcha powder extra fine, it's really important to sift your matcha. Also, when you store it in a storage container, it sometimes clumps together with static electricity. There's nothing wrong with it, but that's just what happens. Look how green that is. Can you see? Oh my goodness. So I'm going to take this bamboo scoop called a chashaku in Japanese, and I'm going to take 2 bamboo scoops of matcha powder. So they're heaped scoops, like so, see? And then another one. Now, as far as teaspoons go, I would say start with 1 teaspoon of matcha powder and work your way up. I like to go 1 to 2 teaspoons because I like a nice strong flavor. But yeah, if you're just starting out with matcha, I would recommend maybe 1 teaspoon to start with. Okay, so we've got the matcha powder in this lovely tea sieve. I'm just going to move everything a bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so let's push that through the tea sieve to give it that extra refinement. It's a nice, good high quality matcha should be fine, silky smooth, but this just gives it another step, you know, another chance to be refined and make sure that there are no lumps or clumps or residue left behind when you make your matcha. Okay, so the tea sieve I'm putting aside and the bamboo scoop I'm putting aside. Now, another important step, it's not essential, but it will help prolong the life of your bamboo whisk, which is known as a chasen. So this is a Zen style bamboo whisk because of the shape of the prongs. And what we're gonna do here, this is the little whisk holder that it sits on to dry. Perfect for drying, see? And nice to display it. But yeah, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop the bamboo whisk in some hot water. Now, what happens here is the bamboo prongs are quite delicate and we want to soften them up and open up the whisk to get it ready to whisk our matcha. So we just sit that in there for maybe about a minute. It's just opening up the prongs. This will prolong the life of your bamboo whisk. And if you do happen to have prongs that kind of come out or, you know, may bend and so on, you can carefully pull them out of the bamboo whisk and you can continue using it. That's no problem. But yeah, if you look after your whisk, remember it's quite delicate. It's really fine bamboo prongs. I believe there's 100 in this. Yeah, maybe 100. 100 prongs sounds good. So yeah, we'll just let that do its thing. Now we'll talk about water. Water temperature is really important. No hotter than 80 degrees, okay? I am hearing people sometimes saying, I don't like green tea, it's too bitter. You know, when they drink green tea in like a tea bag form. Sure, it's probably a cheaper variety of green tea, but it's also the water temperature. If you're pouring boiling hot water over your green tea, let me tell you, it will release the bitterness in that tea. So yeah, I have heated my water up to about 75 degrees for the matcha. Matcha is such a delicate powder. We don't want to burn it and we don't want to have that bitterness come out. So it's really important not to put boiling water on the green tea. Did you hear me? No boiling water. So let me just pop this to the side and let it continue soaking. So we're going to pour 75, it's probably about 70 degrees temperature now over the matcha like so. I'm just going to try and do it so I can show you what I'm doing. And I'm just covering the powder with maybe a quarter of a cup, about a quarter of a cup to half a cup of water. Okay, so let's take our bamboo whisk. Now, the best way to whisk is to do a zigzag. So it's like you're drawing a Z or Z with your hands. And to keep your wrist and hands quite like a 90 degree, like the corner of a square. So, you know, you've got that and then you've got that. So just try and keep your hands upright and hold the whisk like so. And then you go back and forth gently, not pushing the bamboo whisk down to the bottom of the bowl because we don't want to damage the prongs. We're really focused on dissolving the matcha powder in the water and getting a nice frothy finish on top. So here we go. I'm just going to show you a bit of what I'm up to here. So just frothing it up really nicely. Froth, froth, froth for about 30 seconds. You can go up, you know, to a minute. It's just until you see that nice foam on top of the matcha. I mean, on top of the water. You know, want a nice foam finish. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Everything looks very well dissolved. I'll just show you. There you go. Lovely. Okay, the next step is putting in the milk. I'm making a latte. And I'm using this boring oat milk. What a name, hey, I love it. It's a barista grade, so it froths really well. So I've just popped my milk in my Smeg milk frother. If you don't have a milk frother, you can just heat milk up on the stove or use a little handheld air latte to froth it up, or you might have a coffee machine and you can froth milk that way. So whatever you like. And I've got the milk here, ready to pour in. Here we go. Yum. There we go. Amazing. Whoop. Again, I'll show you what it looks like. Yum. Look at that. And finishing touch, because I sell matcha chocolate and I have got some of these little shavings left over from when I cut the chocolate up for samples at markets. So I'm going to put 7 grams of, 7 grams strength matcha chocolate. So that means 7 grams of matcha powder per block of chocolate is in this. So it's a really nice strong flavor. So I'm just going to chuck that on top, pop it on top, not chuck it on top, pop it on top of my matcha. There is my matcha latte. Yum. So let's see what it tastes like, hey? I've got a milk moustache. Yum. It's the perfect time of day to have one. So at the moment it's just gone 2:30. No, it's 2:40. And quite often people will go for their second or third coffee of the day around this time, because there's that, you have lunch and then you have that mid-arvo slump. You know what I'm talking about, where you feel quite tired, you might start yawning. It's because your body is processing your lunch, particularly if you've had a big lunch. And if you're an office worker, you might be sitting at your desk feeling quite sleepy at this time. Don't worry, I've been there, I get it. That's why I'm drinking my matcha right now. And this is an excellent coffee substitute because it won't affect your sleep like coffee. So it doesn't matter if you're having this mid-afternoon, even though it contains caffeine, it's a slow release caffeine, it's far gentler on the body, it absorbs more effectively, and it won't give you any jitters or crashes like coffee does. So yeah, I know I've heard of quite a few people, they love having their coffee in the morning. Great, no problem. I would always recommend maybe eating something with it, because coffee on an empty stomach is quite, you know, strong on the body, even matcha as well. I think it's always good to have something to eat if you can. So yeah, if you like your morning coffee, sure, go for it, no problem. But if you're looking for an afternoon, you know, alternative to drinking coffee, then it is, yeah, just a great idea to try matcha and see how that goes. because you may find that you can wind down easier, and it will still give you that energy to keep going and still stay productive for the hours to follow. But yeah, it won't affect your sleep, and you won't feel really like anxious or jittery or those other things sometimes that you get with coffee. So yeah, I hope that's been interesting to you. This is how I've made a matcha latte today. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments.